Hey, welcome everyone to our webinar today. Acumatica and Stock to Shop. Quick introduction. I'm Sharon. I work for Acumatica. I'm commercial development. We've got Bernard on the call. He's a regional manager of Africa. Grant McDonald's, sales manager. Warren McNichol, head of sales. Nikki Guillaume is the marketing manager, and they're from Stock to Shop. There is a chat section for any questions. Otherwise, we can leave questions till the end. We'll also be recording the session, so I can send out the recording after the meeting. But there'll be a poll coming up shortly, so stay tuned. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the webinar.
Thanks, Sharon. I'm having a bit of issues sharing the presentation. Would you mind sharing it for us if you don't mind?
Okay,
sorry, I don't know why it's not allowing me to share.
No problem. I'm just gonna have to find it. Who's got the presentation? Do I have it?
I sent through a link, so just check your mail.
Okay. Okay, oh, here we go. Okay, cool. Let me just open it up. Busy loading. Okay. Requesting access. You'll get a link now. Sorry. Just let me know if you get the link to let me in. Has anyone else got access to the presentation?
You should get it now, Sharon.
Sorry about this. I've got access now, so I've got it ready, so I can share.
Okay.
So let me share.
I've also just got it now.
Here we go.
Okay,
I've got it.
Okay, perfect. There we go.
Okay, great. Yeah, if we can go to slide 2, thank you. So thanks for joining us today. I'm Nikki from Stock to Shop, as Sharon mentioned. Thank you. I'll just go over what we're going to be covering today. So we'll jump into the challenge businesses are facing with Warren. Then we'll go through the ERP foundation and why that matters with Bernard. Then we'll introduce the Stock to Shop integration and B2B platform, jumping into demos, and then jumping into a real case study at the end. And then we'll open the discussion or the floor, excuse me, to some questions. But without further ado, over to you, Warren.
Great. Thank you very much, Nikki. Okay, so what we kind of first want to talk about is the problem, the real pain points that businesses face when not necessarily having solutions in place that will do the heavy lifting. So if you think of it, either in existing businesses, new businesses, or businesses that haven't really adopted solutions like Acumatica and Stock to Shop, a lot of what you do is either Excel-based, CSV files and so forth. And the problem with that, as your business grows, be it that you're trying to manage your customer master, your products, or your price lists, is that you inevitably find that there could be data entry issues, there could be different versions of a customer database or products or pricing, or just inaccurate data. And when you start working with inaccurate data or data that's not kept up to date, it has a knock-on effect onto everything else. And one of those big things then is, how does that have an effect on my customer service as well as on my sales performance? So what we do, obviously through solutions like this, is ensure that we keep a clean customer base. And we always talk about one source of truth. So if I am updating customer details, that it gets updated in one place, and then it speaks to the other parties that need to then have that updated information. That's the same with order capturing. We come across a lot of clients that have multiple channels in which they capture orders, be that through telephonic discussions, emails, WhatsApp, or orders captured, by other means. So auto capturing then, if it's done incorrectly, also then doesn't give a great customer experience. But past that, you can also then, sell products that might not be available because they've been sold out earlier in the day. So really looking at your orders captured in a streamlined manner and in real time as well. A big one is pricing errors, and I'm sure we've all experienced that, whereby price lists aren't updated, or they updated in one system and not in another. Or I might be, have a old brochure in my kind of briefcase. I'm presenting this to the customer. They then purchase that product, and then past that is I'll give them the incorrect pricing. Again, customer experience is not great, and also then loss of income. And then lastly, and I think we're all probably guilty of this, is really just, kind of not having, the right people be doing the right thing at the right time. So, in all due respect, and I'm one of those people, salespeople aren't great at admin. So expecting a salesperson to kind of capture information as accurately as someone that's purely focused on data capturing isn't the same. So we take the human element out of it and, allow your team that you've employed to do certain functions and roles within the business, keep them focused on what they're great at. So that's really the kind of issues that we solve and streamline with solutions like this, which allows you to inevitably grow your business, grow your market share, and service your customers, effectively. Thanks, Bernard. Over to you.
Thanks, Ron. Great. So behind what goes on in the front office, the omni-channel retail distribution, etc., all the things we call it, is typically the ERP system. And I think to the customer it doesn't really matter. You don't care what ERP is running behind the scenes, but it has a huge impact on the connecting of the dots of fulfillment, the customer experience. So the customer experience, what you see is your checkout, for example, and the products that are great at checkout, like Shopify. And that's what the customer sees. Your WooCommerce, your Magento, your Shopify front ends, and maybe at the point of sale. But behind the scenes is where we're kind of talking, and it's super critical that you have the right foundation here. And when we talk about foundation, I think the old school thinking was, the ERP was kind of a glorified accounting system. At best, it would have inventory. It would count the bean counting, we call it. So it would process the final revenue into the system, and it would manage the inventory, hopefully. What's changed with modern cloud ERPs like Acumatica is it's much more than that. So first of all, we have, it's built for connecting. So if you look at an inventory SKU in Acumatica, it's got a lot of information there that is passed straight through with a connector like we're going to be looking at today, Start to Shop. So connectors seamlessly move this data between the ERP. So from the warehouse level, we're looking at inventory levels, we're looking at availability, we're looking at available to promise, we're looking at fulfillment, we're looking at logistics out and reverse logistics coming back, swap, bought online, return to store. We're looking at, we call that omni-channel. We're looking at complex return for credit, return for replacement. All the stuff is going on. The ERP's got to handle this, and the warehouse management and the scanning and the fulfillment. So it's super important that behind the scenes, and this is the first reason, is that you're able to connect these complex functions to a system that understands what's going on. So it understands the retail, distribution, wholesale retail, omni-channel world. So that's kind of the first thing. So the technical reason is the second kind of big thing I'll focus on. So the functional, the connecting the dots is the first. So when we talk about connecting these open APIs that we talk about, so Acumatica has robust, secure open APIs, which allows us to do a couple of things. The first one is to securely connect to other systems using web services. So easily. So again, as a customer, you don't care about that. All you care is, does the system connect and work? And that's the piece of the puzzle that allows that to happen. And the other reason open APIs are important and robust security is AI, and AI has become super important in the world generally and in systems particularly. So we're leveraging AI already with Acumatica because we have these very secure connectors to the LLMs and the open and the agents out there that are starting to. I mean, there's a prediction that agentic commerce is going to be, within 5 years will be 100 times bigger than people commerce. In other words, agents will be buying on your behalf using the same platform. So I think it's super critical that going forward, you have the right platform, the basis, the foundation. So I think the single code base, single version of the truth, open APIs, robust security, you can tick those off. I normally have a slide with a tick box on it, which we don't need to look at, but I think those are the checkbox items that you need to ensure you have in your foundation system to have a solid platform to build what Dr. Shop going to be showing you next. So I think that's my slide. Do you want me to, am I done there? I think this is now moving into your channels. So
yeah,
and back to
great. Thanks for that. So what does that look like in a simplified view, and where does Stock to Shop fits into this whole kind of fulfillment, ordering, kind of sector? So what you'll see is you've got your e-commerce stores, you've got your marketplaces, and then you've got your B2B trade portals. And then you have solutions like Acumatica that, like Bernard explained, has all of your products, your pricing, your stock, and does all of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. So your consumer on the front end has a very nice experience, which is great. Excited about the product that they've purchased. Now, how do I get that to a scenario where it is being fulfilled, and that when I expect my delivery, it arrives at my door, or my office, or wherever I've decided to collect that order. And what Stock to Shop does is to say that we are the connector between the multiple platforms, and then in this instance Acumatica. Previously, you would have found that if you were a business, you would have potentially had to do an integration, pay for an integration, manage that integration, which becomes a costly exercise, and also quite a timely exercise, in the sense that where does this project fit in, how long does it take, there's opportunities for scope creep if you don't really understand what you're looking to connect. So it can become a very expensive, tiresome, and in some instances a process that actually doesn't really get finished. So what we did Stock to Shop is really say, well, we'll be the connector between your online store, or where your customer experiences the kind of ability to purchase your products, and pass that information through to Acumatica, which then does the kind of fulfillment, ensuring that the right pricing, if there's discounting rules that are in play, relevant stock levels, and then also the ordering process. So someone asked me, not that long ago, well, explain to me in a non-technical fashion what you actually do. And I was like, okay, hold on. So the best way to think about this is we are an adapter between your online stores, and then the kind of back end that does the fulfillment. And if you think of it, if you're going abroad or have been abroad, and you're traveling with your your hairdryer or anything like that, and you get to the US or the UK and there's a different plug socket, well, you need an adapter in order to use your product. And that's exactly what we do at Stock to Shop. We're that adapter that you purchase, and you kind of use us to ensure that everything is taken care of from a upkeep. The other thing about doing native integrations is that there needs to be an upkeep done, which can also then be an ongoing cost. What we do is we build the connectors, we maintain them, we ensure that the connection between the relevant platforms and the ERP systems are always up to date, working, and if there are any issues, obviously it's a fully supported local solution as well. Okay.
Yeah, to build on Warren's analogy there, over and above being the adapter that connects you to what you need to connect to, we also tell you when your hairdryer isn't working, why it's not working, and how to fix it. So There's a lot to the way in which we connect systems to make the managing of your different connectors easier, so that you know when there are breakdowns in connectivity and how to resolve them. So as mentioned, Acumatica is the source of truth, and what we do is we are an extension of that intelligence, that data that sits inside your Acumatica, to the various places that you sell online. So we are updating your catalog in terms of price and stock to those various places. And what's really important, probably at least as important, is that for the source of truth, your Acumatica, to be powerful, it needs to be up to date with what's going on in terms of sales very, very timeously. So you need to get those orders into Acumatica as fast as possible, and that's what we do. As soon as anyone goes online, finds one of your products and purchases it, either B2B or B2C, that order is automatically raised back into your Acumatica as a sales order or an invoice. So that's inventory information from Acumatica to stock to shop. You have the option, if you want to, if you are selling omni-channel that Bernard alluded to earlier, to enrich those products with additional stuff like pictures and long descriptions and additional attributes that might not live inside your ERP database. And then take that holistic curated product or catalog of products and send them to your various channels. So it's all about your left hand and your right hand knowing what each of them are doing. If you're selling on multiple channels, with stock to shop, you don't need to ring fence stock for certain channels. You don't need to put your Shopify stock in one corner of your warehouse, your Takealot stock in another corner of your warehouse, and Amazon in another, to prevent from overselling. You can just take all of your stuff, present it for sale everywhere, and as soon as an order is placed on one of your channels, in it comes, reduces stock availability and your source of truth, and that reduction in stock is then communicated to the other places that you sell online. And without integration, you've got someone in the background running around. There's opportunity. There's double data capture. There's opportunity for human error, and there often are delays in getting your products out from a fulfillment point of view, which leads to grumpy customers, which is never a good thing. So next one, please. I alluded to the B2B trade store. Stock to Shop has a proprietary B2B trade store that allows you to present to your trade customers product information that is specific to that customer in terms of price, stock availability, and you can even decide which customers see which products. So when that customer logs in, they will see a landing page which can be branded to suit your company. They then can find what they're looking for nice and easy, and I'll show you what that looks like in the demo in a bit. They will see the pricing specific to them, and if they're assigned to a specific warehouse, they will even see stock availability that's specific to them. And all of this is pretty close to real time. So it's accurate, immediate, and it's also 24/7. Really, really important for companies that perhaps work outside of conventional working hours.
Great. I think just let's go back one slide. Grant, do you want to jump into a demo of the platform and show us how it looks and how it works?
Sure. Perfect.
Great. Thank you.
Let's do that. Hopefully I've got permission. So in an earlier slide, we showed you, can you guys see? You can see my screen.
Yes,
Yep,
you
I
can.
can see.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so in an earlier slide, we showed you a diagram in which Stock to Shop was in the center with the Acumatica source of truth on the left and your various sales channels on the right. This is that Stock to Shop logo in the middle of that diagram. This is what you, as a user of Stock to Shop, would be given access to a Stock to Shop portal interface. And on the left is your menu. And if I go to products, you'll see all of the items that you've marked active to sync from your Acumatica will populate on a list like this. Most customers choose not to add enrichment inside ERPs. It just burdens your database. So Stock to Shop has PIM functionality that you can use to add pictures and long descriptions and tags and other categorization and attributes that help you help your customers find what they're looking for on your sales channels. So if I were to go into, let's choose this golf bag because I like golf. You can see this looks not dissimilar to the back end of an e-commerce website. You've got a picture that we've added. You can add more pictures if you want to. You can even assign a picture to a specific variant. And over here, we've I've got a long description that you can add. You can bulk upload this via CSV. If you do have it captured in a field on Acumatica, we can map it to these. Rather do enrichment inside Stock2Shop's PIM functionality. Here you've got the brand. You can add a tag. You can add this manually by typing it in, or you can upload it as mentioned. And then if I were to go, oh, sorry, let me just go into the variant. And if I were to go to inventory, you can see stock availability across my various channels. And you can see that I have 5 units available on wholesale, but I'm actually out of stock retail as per Acumatica. Now, if I were to toggle across to a Shopify site that we have set up for this demo, and if I were to go on here and have a look, we would see that this product is actually out of stock because it is out of stock on the ERP. Let's place a quick order. I'm going to buy a barbecue because why not? The user interface for the customer is unchanged. They would just go on your website, add in all their details. The shipping fee would be designated by the website, and I'm going to pop a 1 in this field to simulate a card payment, a successful card payment. And I want to pay. And there we go. So on my retail website, the customer's paid and it's confirmed. Now, if I were to toggle back to Stock2Shop and I go to my menu and I go down here to the queue and hit processing, this shows me a snapshot of any movement of data that's happening. And I can see that here the order is coming in from the Shopify website, and Stock2Shop is going to check that it is a paid order. Most people prevent their customers from checking out without paying up front, but just in case, we have a check that says, is this a paid order? This, of course, all happens automatically without you having to do anything unless there is a sync error. But I'm just going to hit refresh so you can see the workflow as it happens. There we go. We've received the order from the website. We've confirmed it is paid. Now we are creating the order inside your ERP. And there we go. The order is now placed. If I go to my menu, it won't be here yet because it takes a few seconds to index on the list. But just so you can see, over here, you can see a list of orders. And this tells us a whole bunch of information that is relevant to orders. This column over here is particularly useful if you're selling omni-channel, if you're selling on your Shopify site, B2B, Amazon, Takealot. This tells us which of those channels your order was placed on. Over here, this tells us the order number created by that channel. And over here, this tells us the document number that was created inside Acumatica. So there's a one-to-one relationship between those orders. Let's see if it's indexed. There we go. There's our, no. There we go. So let's go in here. You can see here's what we bought. There's the order, customer's name. They bought a barbecue. Source details. This would have your company's name, Acumatica, the document created in Acumatica, and the debtor's account against which the order was raised. This tells us which of our many channels we're selling on, not Takealot or Amazon. It's actually on Shopify. And over here, this is the shipping and billing address as input. And I know with confidence that this has raised into Acumatica, because if it hadn't, this would be blank, and there'd be an error in your queue telling you that we were unable to reach Acumatica, which really shouldn't happen because it's stable and cloud-based. It's more likely to happen for locally hosted systems. So now if I actually go into my Acumatica and I look for that sales order, Is it this one? Yep, there it is. And you can see here is the sales order created inside your Acumatica as well as the shipping amount. And that's all automatic, and it's there ready for you to process as and when you need. So that's the retail side of things. I want to quickly show you what how the wholesale side works. Let's go back to our website. So our trade store, it's pre-built. It doesn't require any developments. Once your products are in stock to shop and all your data is accurate, it's pretty much ready to go. So what we've done is we've created a button on the front end of our retail site. And if I click this, it'll take me away from the Shopify site or your WooCommerce site or whatever you're selling retail to a login box your customers can use to access the products at their price and potentially their stock availability, where they can and place the order into their debtors account on your ERP, as opposed to the default debtors account we place retail orders. What's more is that if you have sales reps, it's a really useful ordering tool. So if I go back to the back-end portal and to my menu and hit customers, you can see that all of your wholesale customers would populate on a list like this. So if I'm the rep and I'm visiting this customer, I can go and I can see this is a wholesale customer. So I can click Trade Store, click this button, it takes me to a similar login box that you saw a moment ago, but it's an agent login box. So the sales rep can then hit login. They don't need further credentials to login. They just hit login, and this is what the B2B Trade Store looks like. This over here you can make look pretty much how you like. It's HTML. And if I go and I hit products, you can see here all the same products that are on my Shopify retail site, but at a price specific to this customer. Stock availability specific to the warehouse syncing to this channel. And I don't have to pay up front. If I'm on wholesale, I just pop items in the cart and I can check out. Of course, it's really important that you can find what you're looking for nice and quickly and check out. There are various ways we facilitate easy navigation of your catalog. One is you can type in a search key here and it'll populate, it'll take you there using Elasticsearch. There's my golf bag. Another way is I can use these attributes. These attributes might be fields inside Acumatica that we can sync for you. Otherwise, you can bulk upload this navigations directly to stock to shop. So if I'm looking for products in this category, I can find it and pop it in my cart. But a really useful tool, especially for wholesale, is this quick order function over here. Many of your B2B customers might not be interested in long descriptions and pictures and whatnot. They just know that they want a grill. And what is a barbecue? I can't remember what it's called. Let me just use golf because I know it's in here. There we go. They just type in a search key and SKU, name, availability, and stock and price specific to me is then populated on a list like this, nice and easy for me to add to the cart. And you can see my cart populates as I go. You'll notice here that these products are available on back order. That's optional. We can also make it so that items that are out of stock have this button gray out so they can't be ordered. This is if you want to accept back orders or not. Once I'm happy, I just go to checkout. I go can make this PO field mandatory if you want. And all I do is I confirm my order. Yes. And then I can go on about my day. So if I'm the rep doing it for my customer or the rep, him or herself doing it themselves, they're done. And if I toggle back to the portal and I go to the queue, we'll see under processing, here's the order coming in from the trade store as opposed to the previous one that was from Shopify. In this case, we're not looking for a paid status because the customer hasn't paid up front. We've seen, an order's been placed. Let's send this order into that customer's dedicated account inside Acumatica. There we go. It's going into the ERP. So what's interesting about this or important about this is that if the customer is not in good standing, or if they've exceeded their limit, or if they've been placed on hold inside Acumatica, it will fail at the point of raising into Acumatica, and that's by design. And it'll send you as business owners an email saying order failed, Grant McDonald exceeded limit or is on hold, or whatever that reason is for the order failing. And you can then pick up the phone, call the customer, and try and save that sale. We don't prevent people who are not in good standing from showing intent to buy, because then you'll have no way of being able to save that sale. If of course they're a repeat offender and you want to prevent them from logging in, you can do that. But usually it's someone who's forgotten to pay the bill or is just a bit behind, and you can say, hey there, Grant, please pay your bill and we'll happily release this order. Okay, then if I go to my orders, you can see here's the order I just placed. There's the customer's name, note left at checkout, items bought. This tells us that a sales order was created against this customer inside Acumatica, not the online website. It was placed on this channel, not Shopify, the B2B trade store. And this information should be all controlled by your ERP. Now, if I go into Acumatica and I look for this sales order, there it is. And there's the order. So as soon as this order comes in, it reduces stock availability on this product. That reduction in stock is then communicated to wherever else you sell this item. So that's very much high level illustration of how Stock to Shop gets your various online sales channels, keeps them up to date, and make sure your left hand and your right hand know what each other are doing in real time.
Grant, if I could jump in, I've got a couple of questions on the screen here.
Yeah.
So let me read them out. I've got a couple of questions as well. But the first one is from David Bryant. What advantages does Stock to Shop hold over the native Acumatica integration for Shopify? So the first thing you showed us, because we have it as, if those that don't know, we have a native integrator from Acumatica. And I often get this question, what's the difference and when would we need a Stock to Shop connector versus an Acumatica connector for Shopify?
So the first thing I would say to that is I haven't yet seen the native portal. From what I've been told, to use the native portal, customer portal, you need the CRM. And that
not the portal, this is the connector. Yeah, sorry, not the portal. I'll come to that.
You mean the connect?
The native Shopify connector for,
the native, okay.
For B2C. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe that cost implications are a factor. The other benefit is omni-channel. So if you want to sell on, we have many clients who have one database of products. They're segmented by brands inside that database. Once you sync all those products into Stock to Shop, we can use rules within Stock to Shop to determine if product has a vendor of A, go to that website. If it has a vendor of B, go to that website, and so on. And you can manage the enrichment of products across all your channels, all of your websites, within the Stock to Shop PIM functionality. Just a little caveat to that, we can't manage enrichment for marketplaces, and that's largely due to rules in place by the likes of Takealot and Amazon. They're very sticky about how enrichment's managed there. But if you're selling on the trade store and a whole bunch of brand-specific websites managed that are linked to one database on your Acumatica, then it makes it easier.
Okay. Second question from David, does it replicate the data on the Stock to Shop cloud? In other words, is it replicating? So I guess that's the master data being the inventory item of those pictures. That looked like to me it was coming straight from Acumatica.
It is.
But you're replicating as well, I assume.
Yes. So once for the cloud version, once every hour we are fetching updates, and we update the replica of the data that we have in the Stock to Shop database. Stock to Shop is hosted on AWS in Ireland, and we use encrypted tunnels. So data safety is of primary and utmost importance. For example, we get audited every single year by Amazon to ensure that we look after the data as we should.
But if you choose, I think you mentioned, if you choose not to replicate the data from Acumatica, you can also do that. You can have just the data can reside in stock to shop database, not Acumatica if you choose that. Not all the data, but the rich data.
Yes,
Pictures,
the enrichment, exactly.
Enrichment, yeah. Okay. The next question is from Anil. It says, does stock to shop replace an integration tool such as AccuWoo? So AccuWoo is you might not have heard, it's just a tool that a third-party tool that Acumatica has available for WooCommerce. So the question is that would you connect to WooCommerce, I guess?
Yes, we do connect to WooCommerce. We do replace a lot of the functionality in AccuWoo. There are certain areas where AccuWoo has functionality that we don't support. For example, B2B. AccuWoo has very basic B2B functionality around price tiers and whatnot, but we've covered that functionality using our B2B, and in fact our B2B trade store has a lot more granularity around discount structures and whatnot. So we would recommend using a combination of or keeping your WooCommerce for retail, for public facing sales, and using the B2B for wholesale. So there is quite a bit of overlap between what the functionality that we cover with our WooCommerce connector. But yeah.
Okay.
But
and that was actually my question. I said I'm going to ask you. The last question was going to be from me, and that is the question. I think you started answering it by chance, but I was going to ask why would we've got an Acumatica customer portal which has been improved recently. And I think it's a difficult thing to ask you because I heard you saying you don't know it. But I often get asked, why would we use another customer portal? The only reason I could think would be it's much cheaper and it works the same. So I'm not sure if you can answer that question. Maybe you can't answer it yet, but why would we use? To be clear, I think the B2B portal has nothing to do with Shopify or other. It's your stock to shop B2B portal is yours. Is that right?
Exactly. It is our proprietary system. And it's essentially a reskinning of the data in stock to shop in a way that's presentable to your customers as well as your reps on behalf of customers. And yeah, I haven't really seen the updated customer portal, so I can't speak to how we stack up. But I do believe that the customer portal needs the CRM module. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's what I'm saying. It could be a cost thing. Yeah, it does. So there are some prerequisites. And sometimes people say, well, I don't need CRM, I just want the portal. So that might be a reason. I think we'll figure that one out. But I always say it's good not to be the only coffee shop on the block. You want to have choice. So I think we'll figure that out. But I've got a feeling it'll be that exact what you've hit on there is you don't need a whole CRM system to run the customer portal if you're using the stock to shop one. So there's always horses for courses, but I think that answers. Exactly. I think those are the only questions. Any other questions? Let me just check. On the chat as well. Those were Q&A questions.
Just to chime in there, Bernard. One quick thing is, and this is not in any way to cast aspersions on Acumatica, of course, but we are South African based. Our support is based here in Cape Town, South Africa, and one thing that customers of ours appreciate is being able to contact South Africans about South African related business queries. So yeah, that we think is a plus.
That's also a factor for sure. Okay. All right, great. So let me know if you want me to reshare the presentation or we're carrying on the live demo.
Warren, I think you're up.
Can you reshare the presentation, please, Bernard?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Bernard.
There you go.
Okay, so obviously what we've spoken about and showed is kind of all functioning and practical. And Grant has showed you what that looks like from a functionality point of view. So just wanted to kind of give you some headline figures. This is a customer that's come on board in the last 12 months that was kind of purely selling in store. So wasn't really doing any form of online sales. We were approached and we've assisted them and also customized a lot of what we do to suit their business needs. And I think that's a key kind of thing to consider as well is we're not just an off-the-shelf solution. If there's customization required to suit your business needs or your business requirements, our dev team can definitely assist in that regard. So just some headline figures over here, over 25,000 orders submitted to the integration. 65% reduction in short picks, which I'm sure you can understand that plays a huge factor in fulfillment as well as customer satisfaction. And then, 89% of orders, in new customers, which is probably a market that wasn't, kind of touched prior to going into a online environment. And I'm sure we can all agree, our ability to purchase and, kind of, if you want to use the word fearlessness of shopping online these days has become a lot more common. And hence the reason, companies are saying, well, it's great that I've got a store where people can walk into and purchase. That obviously has its limitations in the sense of how much stock can you carry in a store, what are your opening times, your trading times, whereas a online store is open all the time. Stock availability is pretty much available nearly all the time, but it also gives your consumers the ability to shop at their free will as and when they want to. So that's just a kind of a real result and not just theory around how we've assisted a very prominent company within South Africa to further their expansion through the online presence of their business. Great.
Okay, great. Can we move to the next slide? Bernard? Thank you. So as we come to the end of the webinar, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Is there any other questions that we want to raise before we close off the session? Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining. If there is anything, please do feel free to reach out to us. We will be hosting a smaller one-on-one sector one-on-one roundtables, so please look out for those if you're interested in joining. And the next step would be to book a discovery call, so we'll reach out. But if it's not a right fit for you just yet, let's get you at the sector roundtable and discuss that in more detail. Just a huge thank you to Bernard and Sharon for setting this up and for running the webinar. We appreciate it, and we look forward to continuing doing business with you guys.
And also, if
Sure thing.
anyone
My
wants
pleasure.
a recording, you can just shout, pop any one of us an email, and we'll send you the recording.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe Sharon, you can be the key contact. So if you've got any questions for anyone, so whether it be any of the presenters, whether it be an Acumatica side, or you want to speak to someone that's Dr. Shop, just mail Sharon, sharon.rossi@acumatica.com, the person you got the invite from. And also, if you want a copy of the video as well, you can just mail it. I think put everything through Sharon, she'll distribute that information. It was really good information. I learned a lot today as well, so it was great. Thank you very much. Appreciate your input from start to shop. Thank you. And thanks for attending, everybody.
Thanks so much, guys.
Well,
Thank
thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Yes.